Professor Burger. And you're watching
Eclectic Arts.
Love that stuff. Love it. Yeah, big fan.
Kind of sinking my teeth into the story of things.
You just need sitting and just
crying.
and sitting and crying. Oh, how it would.
Alice, thank you again for connecting us.
And exactly, you hit the nail on the head. You attract, like attracts
I
like.
looked at some of your previous interviews and really exceptional. I'm happy to be a part of the legacy you're building with Eclectic Arts.
Same.
I want to be in their presence, so I conduct my life in a way that I hope that they want to be in my presence as well.
I'm really excited. Yes. I want to get messy and dirty and nasty. She's got. I had a date tonight. The guy never showed up. He didn't even text me.
Do you want to play video games or you want to like order some pizza?
I feel like I might have something else in mind. So, I mean, you know, maybe we can.
Are you really doing this right now?
Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I'm Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts based here in Seattle, Washington. And thank you so much for joining me on this Monday, the 26th of September, 2022. And I am on a different streaming, well, actually the whole device is completely different than what I normally use. So if I'm kind of fumbling around, please forgive me. And a few housekeeping details before we kind of get started with everything. So let me just make sure everything's looking the way I want it to. Okay. I want to thank my last guest, which was actually a while ago. I haven't had a chance to do a live stream in a bit, which was Sky Blue. So thank you so much for joining me, Sky. That was great getting a chance to talk with her about the adult industry and everything she's doing. I think she's actually over in another part of the world right now. And I do have another live stream scheduled for October, which is, oh gosh, it's a couple weeks away because I have a ton of in-person events that I'm going to be responsible for, but there's also talks of me doing a live stream this Friday. I'm just waiting to hear back from the publicist and kind of seeing is that actually going to happen, trying to squeeze that in before my live event that night. If you'd like to know more of what I do have things actually confirmed and coming up, please follow me as Eclectic Arts Media, one word, on Instagram. That's where I post everything first. And then some of that information migrates over to other social media platforms. If this is your first time joining me on my YouTube channel, if you could do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button and also the notification bell, that helps me out greatly with the algorithm and everything else that I have going on. And also let you know when I have something coming up. Last year was probably a little annoying because I had so many live streams that I was doing every week, and now it won't be nearly as much in your inbox about letting you know that I'm live and who my guest happens to be. And also I want to thank Matilda Lindell and the ABBA the concert crew. I got a chance to meet them in person this past Thursday, and I got to see them perform and do all the concert photography for the whole set. And they're just an amazing band. They're listed as a tribute band, but I mean, they just played the Hollywood Bowl in California to 16,000 people. So kind of gives you an idea what kind of band they actually are. And they are from Sweden, just like the original ABBA. So I highly recommend them if they come to your neck of the woods. They are touring right now in the United States. So I can't say enough good things about them. And also, if you're on the Twitch side of things, if you could follow me over there, that's where I started all this virtual work with the wonderful band Alice about I guess it's not 2.5 years ago, but almost 2.5 years ago. And if you're really liking what I do, I've been really fortunate that some folks have made some PayPal tips and donations. The link is in every description of every YouTube video that I have. It's also on my Twitch channel as well. And if you're looking for Venmo, I have that, but it's not listed because I need to update everything. But that's what I have going on. So I'm very excited anytime I get to do a live stream. I love doing these, and tonight is no exception. So let's kind of get to things. My guest tonight has a diverse background in the adult entertainment world. She has worked as a stripper, cam model, and as an adult performer. She has worked with some of the top studios, including Brazzers, Reality Kings, Nubiles, and many more. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts Virtual Studio, Miss Jessica Starling.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, Jessica. Thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Of course, of course.
So how are you doing today in Toronto?
I am excellent, thank you. It's a bit rainy today, but that's all right.
Isn't that interesting? I'm here in Seattle, and it's like I think we almost hit 80 degrees in sun. So we have like
Oh, opposites. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I'm sure the rain's coming here anytime, any minute. And I don't mind that either. So that's
Okay, well, that's good. Yeah.
very cool. So, like we were kind of talking pre-show, that you have so many different things that you have going on. So, I'd like to start just like with the current right now. What are you working on currently? Are you planning some scenes for your own work? Are you going to be traveling? What's kind of going on for the latest?
Yeah. Well, I am always, when I'm home, I'm always making new content. I make new content every week, like a whole bunch of videos. I'm currently trying to edit all of my backlog of videos because I have many now, and I decided that I shouldn't film anymore until all that is out of the way. So a lot of my amateur content you will be seeing a lot more of. And then in November, I'm going back down to the States to film some more studio porn.
Okay, so you're gonna, as we were kind of talking pre-show, you got a lot of things going on. You're very, very busy. Yeah, and like and you're smart too, that you realize you have a backlog of videos that you need to edit. So I should just stop now and get to that before I just keep making it bigger.
Yeah, oh, thank you. But that's what I noticed. I'm like, I really should take care of this before I add to the pile.
Yes, yeah, that's a lesson I need to learn. Because
Yeah.
I will say yes to like all these films that come in. I was like, wait a minute, I haven't even done the reviews for these other ones yet. What am I talking about taking on more? I'm like, oh, but that looks interesting. At some point, I'll take a page out of your book and actually learn my lesson. And I'm kind of curious, just from the tech side of things, how long does it take you to, so if you're shooting a video and then like you said, you have to go and edit that thing before you can put it online for your fans. How long does that process take you? Because it's not quick at all, I don't think.
Yeah, usually what I film, especially if it's just me by myself, it's pretty quick to do the general editing. My setup is usually the same. I'm usually right here. So I have in my video editing software, I can just do a lot of presets because the lighting and stuff is usually exactly the same. And so I could just do that. And then I'm not doing anything fancy. I just cut it together to fix the colors and the lights a little bit. And then the longest part, honestly, is just waiting for it to render.
Okay. Well, and you're probably to the point too, like you know what you're doing, you know what you want to edit, like you're saying about changing colors or something that you knew was kind of a little bit off, and then just kind of like it becomes almost like habit.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then when you're shooting videos with other performers, how do you have like a circle of people that you like to work with now, or how did you first find people?
I first really started working with other people just this past March. And before that, I would work with a girl or another girl like occasionally, but it was mostly just by myself. And when I went down to LA, I'm like, I'm just going to work with everyone. Just reach out to me. We'll plan something. So I did. I wore myself out my first LA trip, working for like shooting for so many studios and shooting with so many people to create our own content and stuff like that. But I'm always open to working with new people, getting myself in front of new faces and stuff like that.
Okay. And I definitely want to revisit that trip to LA that you just talked about, but we'll come back to it. So when you're doing your ideas for your videos, are you getting some input from your fans as a mix of both of your ideas and their ideas, like what they want to see?
Yeah, so I'll put it like on Twitter or like on my OnlyFans. I'll be like, hey, what do you want to see next from me? And the thing is, only sometimes the answers are helpful. So basically, I get most of my new video ideas by just analyzing my sales data and stuff like that. And then, just going through my main niches and being like, okay, I filmed this, and filmed this. And then so you take a niche and then you're like, okay, this niche. So what I do a lot is like mommy role play. So I'm like mommy role play. And then I'm like a couple other niches to like put in the mommy role play. And then you have like mommy and then 3 other things. And then I put it all together and it's kind of like, it's not really, sometimes it's a creative thing, but a lot of the time it's more of like an analytical thing.
Okay, well, I like the fact that you have like, you have these niches, and like you said, I've done 3 in this one, and I didn't put this part in, so I need to do one of those. Oh, now we're moving over here, so that you don't just keep constantly doing the same stuff.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to watch, potentially your sales go down and your viewership go down.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so yeah, for folks out there, I mean, there is a business to this.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, and like you're saying, looking at your analytics and any other kind of things, like what are people watching and what's the most viewed video, the one that I got the most money from.
Exactly.
Yeah, because if one didn't, like if for whatever reason it didn't resonate with fans, it's like, well, maybe we'll come back to that much later and we'll stay over here in these other areas.
Oh, for sure. And then sometimes, like I want to test something out. So I'll, like A/B testing, like this or like that. And then so I test what sells better with some of my products kind of thing. Yeah. I do creative fun things once in a while. That's more like, ooh, this is a cool concept I want to film. But a lot of the times it's analytical.
Okay. And would you consider yourself a creative or artistic person in general?
I would, yes.
Okay. So I'm just kind of, I have a random mind. So you'll kind of find out during this interview that my mind kind of goes all over the place.
That's all right, yeah.
So being a creative minded person, you probably have real distinct ideas of like, a certain video idea that you want to shoot.
Yes.
Have you done something like that and it didn't really resonate with the fans?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes I film something, I'm like, this is amazing. And then no one cares. But so I've learned that I have to do a little bit of mix. It's going to be mostly stuff that I know is going to sell. And then sometimes I can sprinkle in a little weird stuff that I want to do. And sometimes I'll strike gold and the weird thing that I want to do actually sells really well. So,
Okay. Well, and that sounds, it's kind of in the ballpark of somebody who's like, say, a photographer for a living. Maybe they're shooting, doing weddings and portraits, senior photos and stuff like that. But then the thing that they're maybe passionate about is some kind of really crazy out there idea that they want to do. And they kind of hope that maybe that'll eventually take over the other.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Okay. And you kind of mentioned OnlyFans. Where else can people kind of find these videos that we're talking about?
Yeah, definitely my OnlyFans, onlyfans.com/Jessica Starling or onlyfans.com/Jessica Starling free. I am basically everywhere that you can find adult content online. I'm there doing the thing. So many vids, I'm on clips are sale. If you want a little free preview, I am also on Pornhub, X videos, working on X Hamster. So
so you're easy to find then.
I'm easy to find. I am everywhere.
Okay. Yeah. I got I don't really care if I say this right now. The last one that I did was with a guest from the adult industry. I had put their OnlyFans link in the description. I guess that's a huge no-no.
Oh, that's a no-no. Yeah.
Yeah. I found out the hard way.
Yes. Yeah. No, they don't like that.
Well, and I don't know if I should be saying this, but I'll say it anyway. The previous videos that I had, interviews I had done with folks in the adult industry, also had that same link, but they never flagged it.
Oh, they just didn't catch it.
Yeah, so I just got lucky.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, because I was getting ready as I was making this whole stream for tonight. I'm like, oh yeah, don't put that in there in the description because remember what happened last time.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. People are so uptight about things.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And so you were mentioning that when you made the trip to LA and you had met other people and you kind of like did so much, so many scenes and so much work, it was like too much almost.
Absolutely.
How long were you down there? And was it like you just said, I'm just going to take anyone who said, here's an offer to shoot this type of scene? You said, okay, I'll do it because then there's more content and getting my name out there and kind of networking.
Yeah, well, definitely, like, I would say yes to like any like studio scene, kind of within my limits, obviously. And then for content trading, so me working with another performer independently, as long as they were like a professional and not just like some guy, then yeah, I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's make something. And it was a lot. I ended up staying a lot longer in my first trip in LA than I first planned to. And so that was like beginning of March. And then I went back to Canada for 1 week in May. And then I went back to the States. I went to Miami for Expos Miami. And then I just went back to LA afterwards. And then I only came back to Canada beginning of July.
Okay. All right. And see, and there's like we were talking pre-show, there's another aspect that I think some people who perhaps look down on the adult industry don't even understand, that some of the performers don't live in LA or they don't live in Miami.
Yeah.
They actually travel when it's time to shoot scenes, and then they go back to where home is.
Yes. Yeah. That's me right now.
Yeah. I had done a written interview that way back when in like, gosh, 2011 with an adult actress, and she was talking about, yeah, she's based out of Cleveland. And for me at the time, I'm like, so wait a minute, so how do you shoot your scenes? I mean, I didn't even understand.
Yeah. You
and
travel a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like, no, Mark, I have it on my calendar with my agent about when I'm traveling to LA, when I'm going to Miami, what dates, what scenes we're shooting, all that kind of thing. And so I know that because she was married at the time and had a daughter and I think a stepson. And so they're all taken care of with her husband, and then off I go and do my thing, and then I come back and I resume my life and my studies back in Cleveland. And she was also shooting for her own website at the time too.
For sure.
So it sounds very similar. So I got educated. Again, that was 11 years ago, about how just some of that works. And so I'm glad you're here, because I don't know if I've had somebody on that can kind of speak to what stripping was like and what camming was like before they got into the adult world. So and I don't need to know like what got you into stripping, but when you were doing it, what was that like? I mean, were there any misconceptions that happened during your time? It was like people think of certain things when it comes to a stripper, and it's like, you know what, that actually wasn't true at all.
Yeah. Well, I definitely I started stripping when I was 18, freshly 18. I didn't know what to expect at all because I'd never been to a strip club, misconceptions. Well, in Canada, I've noticed I haven't been to a whole lot of strip clubs in the States, but when I went to Miami, everyone was making it rain on the stage. In Canada, it's not, because we don't have ones. So you can't go like that.
Right.
So there's that. I don't know. It's not as glamorous as maybe some people might think it is. I didn't have any dance experience when I first got on stage. They were just like, okay, go on stage now. And I was like, all right. I didn't have to audition or anything. Some clubs in the States, you have to audition and prove that you're good on stage, blah, blah, blah. A lot of clubs in Canada, they're like, are you hot? Yes. Okay, cool. You're hired. Basically how it works. Yeah.
Okay. That's when you're talking about, in Canada, you don't have $1 bills, you have coins, right?
Oh, if someone threw a coin at me, I'd probably slap them. But people just would do they're called five-man dives. So you put I don't advocate for this because money is dirty, but they would put a $5 bill in their mouth and then dive on stage. So they're lying on their back on the stage, and then you come over and you sexually take it from them.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what you do.
All right. And you're talking about when you first went up on stage to dance, and you're they didn't giving you tips, so you just listen to the tune and just kind of move to whatever you felt like doing.
Yeah, although I mean so when you start stripping, at least this is my experience, like your managers, DJ, whatever, they're just like, okay, go now. Like they don't, it's not like you get like training or something like that. They're like, this is the locker room, that's the bathroom, house fee is this much money, you go on stage this many times, goodbye. And basically you just have to hope that there is a more experienced dancer there that will spot you out and be like, are you new? And then you're going to be like, yes. And they're like, okay, here's what you do.
Okay. And,
Yeah.
And with my limited knowledge of how this actually works, when you're talking about like house fees and everything, is it kind of the same thing of like almost like renting your space? Like when you're there at a club for a night that you are expected to pay X amount of dollars, and then anything above that is your money?
Yes. So house fees, you pay to work. And that varies wildly from club to club, basically. There's no two clubs that kind of do it the same because there's no regulation around it, just whatever the club wants to do. So, yeah.
Okay. And so you're doing that. I understand that you were studying journalism at one point.
Yes. Very briefly. Yeah.
And you were telling me pre-show that you do like to write poetry and short stories and things of a horror nature at times.
I do, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then to work kind of around your classes, is that when the camming started?
Yeah. So I started journalism school and I was like, student loans are not enough. I need something to help me make money while I'm doing this. So yeah, I started camming because it was the most flexible thing and the most convenient thing that would work with my schedule.
Okay. And if there's somebody out there has like, I don't know who that person would be, but if they say they don't know what camming is, how do you explain that to them?
So camming in the adult sense is there are websites you go on and you're like, okay, I want to make money doing this. So you go on, you register, blah, blah, blah. And then you set up a little chat room with a stream kind of like this. And then people talk to you and you're like, if I get X amount of tokens, I will take my top off. And so then the people viewing you in your chat room can then tip you until you get to your goal, and then you do the thing you promised that you would do.
Okay. And is it kind of like what Twitch has turned into, where you need to have a schedule so people know when you're going to be on?
Yeah, it's basically Twitch, except boobies.
Okay.
Kind of, yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so all two or three of you out there who say you don't know what camming is, they're now
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Okay, and is that something you still do now?
Yes, it is. I still like camming. I still think it's good because you always get your face out in front of new people and stuff like that. Yeah, I still do it. Weekends, typically.
Okay, and is it something? I would also kind of think that it's kind of a way to you've got to have your regular fans that tune in every time and they're tipping you and they're buying stuff and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a more I guess a personal experience.
Oh, absolutely, because you can talk to me and I can respond to you with my voice real time.
Yeah. See, so again, for those two or three people out there that haven't experienced this, there's a reason why people like to do this, because imagine that whole concept happening with Jessica here, and you're paying X amount of things, and so the other fans, and then if you hit this level, then this happens, and then you get to actually see it, or you can say something to her, you're looking really lovely today, or whatever, and then she can respond to you. It's very different than just watching something on your phone. That isn't that. It's not as removed as that experience was, or in some ways still is, depending on what you're watching.
Of course, yeah.
Okay. And so what created the jump from stripping, camming into studio porn?
I just decided that I wanted to do it as a career move. I this, adult is going to be part of my career for the foreseeable future. And I just thought it would be the best decision, because Brazzers is going to have way more marketing budget than I will ever have. So, and then of course you get paid from the scenes, but then as well you get exposed to like so many more people than you would have otherwise.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole other network out there when you start shooting scenes and also making a name for yourself, that you're professional. You show up and you deliver great scenes, and they're hot and everything else, and people want to work with you. Directors want to hire you, and it just snowballs basically.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Do you remember what your first scene was like shooting for studio porn? What kind of scene it was?
It was a girl scene with Angel Youngs for Reality Kings, and it was lovely. Everyone was nice. It was shot in a beautiful modern LA house that was like the nicest house I'd ever been in at the time. And yeah, it was really chill and easygoing, and I just had such a nice time doing it, and I was like, wow, this is lovely.
Okay, so it sounds like it was a really positive experience. And
oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, and I see your cam moderator just put in a thing in the chat about, ask Jessica if there is a special forces raid plan to rescue the hostage Mini Me.
I know who that is.
Okay.
No.
There you go. There's your answer. Do you have like a rough idea for studio porn, how many scenes you've shot so far? Just a ballpark.
30?
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Something like
give or take.
30 to 50. Something like that.
Now, from talking to some of the other guests I've had in the adult industry, they've talked about no lists and yes lists and things of that. Do you have both of those type of things? Like people, I would absolutely work with this person, and people that, yeah, I'll pass on those people.
I do have a no list, and the only people on there are people and companies who have been accused of doing very bad things. But yeah, I don't really necessarily have a yes list because I'm fairly new to studio porn, so I'm still kind of like meeting everyone.
Okay.
So I'm still kind of figuring out who I really like to work with and stuff like that.
Okay. And is there also then one of the gals was talking about there are certain things that she says yes to in terms of what she'll do in a scene, and then certain things that she will not do or isn't ready to do yet. Do you have that kind of thing broken out as well?
Yeah, so I have like my personal like no's and stuff like that, and it also like it changes depending on who I'm working with. For example, if I worked with someone a bunch of times and I have really good chemistry with them, I am more comfortable in letting them be like rougher with me, like hair pulling, slapping, choking, and stuff like that. Whereas if I'm working with someone for the first time, those three things are usually on my my nose. So I don't really like to do rougher scenes with people unless I kind of know them a little bit and feel like I can trust them to handle me like that. And in terms of like types of scenes, yeah, so generally you as an adult performer, you start off doing kind of like the basic things, and as there gets more demand for you to go on to something more intense, like for example, you're shooting sort of regular vaginal boy-girl stuff. And then eventually, if you want to, not everyone has to, but you're like, okay, I've been in this for a year, so now I'm going to start doing anal. So, and because when you wait for a little bit, you can get a higher price for your first scene of that type.
And that makes a lot of sense because I remember that back again, I'm old. I remember back in like the 90s that you'd see it's like somebody new come in, especially if somebody has a certain look and they might be doing girl only. And then it became, here's my first boy girl scene. And then became my first anal thing because it drives the demand up and people are just chomping at the bit, basically waiting for that to happen and you get more money.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I know one of the guests that I had on was saying some of the things that she tells some of the younger girls that get into the industry is that same thing's like kind of map out what you're going to do. Don't just do all of it at once because then you don't have anything to build up to. You've already done it.
Yes, for sure.
And something she kind of regretted because she kind of just went hog wild when she got in. And just
for sure. It was just like everything all at once. Yeah.
Yeah, and she said, looking back, like, I wish someone had told me just kind of build up, what you're doing scene wise.
Yeah,
so that becomes a big deal when you do like if it's going to be multiple partners or if it's going to be anything else that's much more extreme, then it's going to be people have been waiting 2 years for this kind of a thing.
Of course, yeah.
Okay. And anyone else that's watching, if you want to join the chat, you just have to either subscribe to the YouTube channel or just follow me on Twitch. And then I'm the one who sees the comments. So my guest here, Jessica, does not. So just please be aware of that. I've been really lucky that people have been very, very respectful during all of my live streams for the most part. So, and so far we're looking pretty good. So, yeah. So are there anybody right now, I'm guessing they probably are in the industry that you really want to work with, either director-wise company or star?
Yeah. I would really like to work with, of course, you want to work with like Vixen because they're very like high-end, big name, really pretty shoots and stuff. There's a studio somewhere in Europe, I'm not sure where, somewhere in Europe called Hentai, where they do like hentai tentacle porn, but like in real life with like tentacle dildos and like special effects and stuff like that. And I want to film for them so badly. Because it's just like the right amount of weird where I'm like, I want it. I want it.
Okay, I've seen like the Japanese version of that, and then I think I saw part of one scene of what you're talking about from Europe, where there's dildos on, like, I don't even know what they're using, but it looked like watching almost like a fantasy movie or something.
Yeah. It's so I just want I just want it. I want it.
Yeah, if you showed that to somebody really quick, say, hey, take a look at this, they wouldn't have a clue what that was.
No, it's like, what's happening?
Like, huh? Is that what it was? Wait a minute, is that a dildo? Is that a vagina?
Yeah.
What's going on here? Because I know the very first time I didn't even know like what that was when I saw some of them. Like, huh?
Yeah.
But then it made me want to go look at it some more to kind of say, what is that?
Yeah, you get curious. You're like, what?
Yeah, it's kind of like seeing the car wreck on the road kind of thing. You don't want to look at it, you don't wish it happens, but you can't turn away from it either. It's kind of like
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Have you ever encountered somebody so far? It could be working for your own videos or working for studio work, where hygiene was an issue.
Yes.
And how did you handle that? What do you do in that situation?
It was one of my first shoots and I didn't know what to do. But now, if that were to happen to me again, I would simply say, would you go freshen up for me a bit, please? And that's it.
That's a really nice professional way without making someone feel, conspicuous.
Bad,
that they can go shower, do whatever they need to do, and then come back and, resume filming and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There's one of the guests had mentioned that it actually came, I think, from her agent, that tell people that you have your favorite scented soap that you always ask all of your co-stars to use before they shoot the scene thing. And that way they'll feel like it's across the board that everybody uses it, even if it's like this particular person needs it.
Yeah. Okay. A little sneaky, yeah, forcing everyone to wash, but yeah,
Yeah, so that same principle. Like they don't want to make them feel bad. You know, they're all there to work, and but it's like, look, you need to do something about this.
Yeah, but I also think it's like, if you know what you're going to be doing, you're going to be very close and intimate with another person. You, as a professional, you kind of need to be aware of what sensory experience you're bringing to the table. You know? And I think if you're having, everyone sinks from time to time, but I think as a professional, you need to be hyper aware of that. And if someone isn't, it's a little unprofessional.
Yeah, no, that's a very valid point, because this is your job.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so if there's something you're supposed to be doing at any job that anyone's doing, and you show up there and you're not prepared, then it's going to be like, hey, you know, what are you doing? Don't you know that you're supposed to, like, you know, read this book before you came and presented on it or whatever? Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know. It's like, huh?
Huh? Yeah, exactly. I didn't know I was supposed to wash my balls. Like, what?
Yeah. You just came from the gym. You need to wash. You need to do something.
Yeah, well.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And kind of switching gears a little bit. You were telling me that you're a gamer, and you like anime. You like to write.
Mhm.
And I think I saw somewhere that you're also vegan.
I am, yes.
Okay. So how long have you been vegan, and what prompted that?
I've been vegan for 8 years now. And what prompted that was mostly just ethical reasons. You know, I saw the documentaries, I saw the slaughterhouse videos, etc., etc. And also my personal, like, little philosophy is that, like, I personally, unless it was a survival situation, wouldn't be able to kill an animal to eat it, and it's kind of the same thing if someone else kills it for me. So yeah, I don't care if you're not vegan, people in the world, but that's just me.
Okay. Yeah. No, I've had quite a few guests, especially in the music community, that have been vegan for a long time, and have the same mindsets. Like, this is a personal choice. It's what works for me. Don't really care what works for you.
Yeah.
But if you want to learn more, I'm happy to tell you about it, kind of a thing.
For sure.
Okay. And I don't know much about gaming or anime, but for those that are watching this now or watching it down the road, what are some of your favorite animes or things currently that you're watching?
So my favorite anime is probably Evangelion. I just finished watching the final movie of it, and it was very nice. I liked how it ended. For games, what am I playing right now? I've been really into Crusader Kings. Crusader Kings, Project Zomboid, Dead by Daylight. I typically like RPGs, strategy games, stuff like that. Oh, and also Pathologic 2.
Okay. I used to work at a high-tech college that was basically for students that were going to get into the gaming industry. So all of them, I mean, they're talking to me, Mark, about this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, I don't game. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I feel like all of that was just French to you. So
that's where I first heard about Twitch back in 2015, because all of them had Twitch channels.
Yes, for sure. Oh, of course. Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, okay, when I got involved with Twitch, at least I know what this is from the gaming folks that used to be around.
True. Yes. Yeah.
And so does that mean the games that you just mentioned, are you playing those while you're on your own Twitch channel?
Yes. So on my Twitch channel, I think I'll start streaming more often again next week. But currently I play a lot of Dead by Daylight. So that's like online competitive multiplayer thing where it's like asymmetrical teams. So there's a team of survivors and then a team of one person that is the killer. And then the survivors have to go around a map, turning on enough generators to open a door to get out. And then the killer just tries to kill all of them before that they can do that. And so they partner with different horror franchises as well, such as Hellraiser. So you can be like Pinhead, you can be Freddy Krueger, you can be Michael Myers, and then they have their own killers that they've like independently made as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's a game that I play a lot. I'm also going through all the Resident Evil games. So we're starting with the Resident Evil remake. So that's the original Resident Evil remake. And then, Resident Evil 2 remake, Resident Evil 3 remake. And if it comes out in time, Resident Evil 4 remake, and then 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So there's a lot coming up that you're going to be doing on your Twitch channel.
Yeah. there's always more games to play. So.
Okay. And do you have any ideas to expand your Twitch channel into like, I don't know, like doing like a cooking episode or anything else that you might be takes you away from the gaming aspect?
I think my Twitch is going to be pretty much strictly gaming, but I would like to start a YouTube channel in the near future that is other things.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe some beauty, fashion tips, some other kind of things. There's somebody that came on was talking about. The reason I mentioned that cooking thing is because she started cooking on her Twitch, Twitch channel.
Fun. Yeah.
And she was like, "I'm the worst cook in the world," so I wanted everybody to know.
Okay. Yeah. I would watch that. That's fun. Just see someone like try to cook, but not really.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is and she was safe, but she did have a small kitchen fire during one of them. Actually, while it was live. And
no.
But it was fine.
Someone must have clipped that though, so it's fine.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's all these kind of different. It's such an interesting world, this virtual world, especially after 2020 and part of 2021, where you can do so many different ideas, and some of these things were already going anyway before the pandemic. I just didn't know they're out there. People are doing this on Twitch or on YouTube or on any of these kind of live streaming platforms.
For sure.
That's like such an interesting way to connect with people literally around the world.
Yeah, no, literally, it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean the fact that you're in Toronto right now and I'm in Seattle, and here we are talking in real time is just like crazy to me. Again, because I'm old and I remember back when you'd have like these little buffering things just to watch like a 5-minute clip on.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Back in like the late 90s.
Yeah,
you had like a 56K dial-up.
Yeah.
So if somebody had told me back then that, oh yeah, you could be talking to somebody in another country like in real time, Mark, in 2022, I'd be like, what are you talking about? What Mars planet are you from? How is that going to work? We can't even get 5 minutes up online.
Yeah.
A long time ago, I used to work as a teacher in another life, and so we would do this whole lesson about technology. What is new? What do you think is new? What do you think's always been there? And so, like, they talked about computers. Oh, there's always been a personal computer. It's like, no, there weren't.
No.
Smartphones, MP3s, microwaves, and all this kind of stuff. No, I was around when those weren't around. Like, how old are you, Mark?
Oh
no. But it was interesting just to kind of hear perspective from like a 12 or a 13-year-old about what they think has always been around.
Oh, for sure. I'm sure that must be entertaining.
Yeah, and it's got to be even more so now. I mean, the technology that a 12 or 13-year-old has access to strictly from their little phone.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you're walking around with a computer in your hand, basically.
Yeah.
And a photography camera and a video camera.
Yeah, you're walking around in your pocket a device that is like more powerful than like the computer that sent a rocket ship to the moon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, if I have a question about, so who was in that band, I can just go to my phone. Back in the day, you just didn't know.
You just didn't know. You're like, well, I guess I'll never know now.
Yeah. Well, when I go to school tomorrow, I'll ask some of my friends and see if they know. They don't know anything, just like I didn't know anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You might get it from like maybe from a magazine at the time or something. But
true. Yeah.
No, outside of that, no, you're screwed.
Yeah, you just didn't know. You just had to come to terms with not knowing.
Absolutely. So I do this thing sometimes where I used to bring, this is during the heart of 2020, where I was bringing different guests back and we would just sit and kind of like shoot the breeze kind of a thing. And so it started off by asking questions that I pulled from the internet. And so if you're okay with it, I'd like to ask you some of those, they're general questions.
For sure.
Just kind of get your opinion about these things. Some of them are silly, some of them are a little bit more serious.
For sure.
See if I can find these since I'm on this other thing here. Okay, here we go. What's something you've never been able to do well?
Never been able to do well. I mean, I don't want to sound like cocky, but I feel like I can do anything well if I try.
Okay, no, that's a first statement. You put your mind to it and you practice. You could get good at it.
Except for like, I guess I'm not good at sports. I'm not really good at like sport ball. I'm not good at it generally.
Okay.
But I've never really tried.
See, so that goes back to what you were saying.
I've never really tried, so yeah.
Yeah. So if you dedicated some time to one of the athletic sports or something, you might get kind of good at it.
Yeah, I think so. So.
Okay. No, I like that answer. Yeah. I've never actually had a guest give me that type of answer. No, I like that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Because I know all kinds of things that I can't do well. We won't go there right now. Okay, name one film you've seen multiple times.
The Lord of the Rings trilogy, all of them. The extended cuts.
Okay, and did you see those when they were in the theater or after?
No, I think I was. When did they come out in theater?
Like,
I think I might have been too
young.
Too young, yeah.
Okay.
But on DVD multiple times.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched it, but are you watching that new series on Amazon that's related to the?
Oh God, I tried. It's so bad. It's so bad. Oh, it's like different levels of like bad.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's.
And I thought I heard something about that was like the most expensive show produced or something. Like they spent millions on that show or something.
Oh, well, then they didn't spend any of it on the writers.
Oh man, so it's one of those. As soon as the words come out of the actor's mouth, you're like, oh man, this is really bad.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
That is. I was really excited for it. Like my friend and I were like, you need to watch the new Lord of the Rings series, and we like were excited. We will sit down and watch it. We're like, this kind of sucks. Like.
Okay, well, maybe I'll have to make sure that waits even further before I ever to take a look at it. Because I love the extended cuts that they did, and it's one of the few things that I think that when they extended them, they actually improved the film. Because a lot of times you put a director's cut out, it's like, I understand why you cut those scenes now because it was too much.
It was too much. It didn't really add anything. Yeah.
Right, but those added so much more richness to the story and everything else.
Absolutely.
Makes me want to go watch them again.
Dedicate another 12 hours to watch all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, like I have all that kind of time. Okay, let's see here. Would you rather lose all your memories or never be able to make new ones?
Lose all of them.
Okay.
Whatever, it's fine. I'll make new ones.
You'll just move on with whatever's new then.
Exactly.
Okay. What do you do for self-care?
I play video games. I have a little pub of a joint time to time. I try to force myself to go outside because I work from home. I order my groceries. I order most things to me. And so I don't really have a reason to go outside regularly, except when I force myself to. Because I realized after a few days of work, sometimes I'm like, I feel a little weird. I feel like I should go outside.
Okay, well, you know what, and I think a lot of people could relate to that because of 2020.
Oh yeah, for sure. For
Yeah,
sure.
either working from home or just being around your family at home because you weren't supposed to be around people or schools, remote and
Oh
you're
yeah.
working. And then there's also the flip side of that. Like in my case, because I don't live with people,
Mhm.
you get kind of lonely because you're not having as much
Oh,
interaction. It was really
absolutely.
interesting.
So I live with my friend, but she was gone on a family vacation for 2 weeks, and it was just me and the cat. And after a week, I was like, I haven't spoken to another human being in 7 days. So like, it was a little. I was talking to the cat. I'm like, what do you think about this? Like, so I had to go outside for a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Because I remember, even talking to like a delivery person, like a bit longer than normal. Because it's like, and granted, they're standing 6 feet away and dropping off whether they're dropping up. It's like, hey, how you doing? Kind of thing. Something I would never do.
Yeah, how are you, other human?
Yeah, it's like you don't have to rush to another delivery yet, do you?
Yeah.
Such a weird period of time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we're still in some other. I don't know what chapter we're in now, but we're in some other weird chapter of this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just strange. Let's see
Absolutely.
here. If you could go back and revisit one event out of your life, what would you pick?
Just to like re-experience it.
Yeah, just to either experience it or maybe somehow you wanted to do something a little bit different at that event.
Maybe just go back when I was 16. I saw System of a Down live, and it was a very cool experience because they'd been on hiatus for so long. So it was like one of their first shows back. So the crowd was just like super hype, and it was really great. I'd experience that again.
Okay, yeah. I'm a huge music fan, so that's a great answer. And since we're kind of on, since you mentioned System of a Down, what are there other artists that are some favorites, other genres? What kind of music are you into?
Yeah, I listen to metal mostly. I kind of go through like phases where I listen to one band pretty much exclusively for like a month, and then I find a new band and I do that. So right now, they're not metal. They're it's Sisters of Mercy. I've been getting into some goth music, so that I'm on a Sisters of Mercy kick right now. But like my favorite band of all time is Children of Bodom. They're a melodic death metal band from Finland.
Mm-hmm.
I like death metal, black metal, 80s metal, like kind of like all of the metal. I am into goth music, punk music, and also jazz.
Okay, well, yeah, no, you have to have a little something different in there sometimes. Now, did you ever see Children when Alexi was still with us?
Yes, I did actually. Oh, I didn't know you were a metal fan.
I'm a metalhead. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, so I did get to see them before he passed away. So yes, so I'm happy at least for that.
Yeah, that's cool. They played here in Seattle several times at a couple of the clubs here, and so if I go back to when I was 9 years old, I saw Kiss. That was the first band I ever saw live, and then it turned into AC/DC and Iron Maiden and Scorpions, all the 80s metal stuff, and then I'm into death metal and black metal.
Oh, amazing!
Symphonic stuff. Cancer Slug they're like old school punk from Alabama.
Oh, cool!
One of my favorite bands. If you've never checked them out, they're
You
not
do
for
it,
yeah, they're not for everybody. But based on what you just said, you'll probably like them.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And their singer sings with Doyle from the Misfits.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, so Doyle's got his own solo project. So Alex from Cancer Slug is the singer for Doyle's solo band.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I've seen Cannibal Corpse several times, and they're coming back in November, so I'll see them. And they're actually coming with Dark Funeral, so we're talking about black metal. So that'll be an interesting build.
That's fun. That's very fun.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've been to a show, so I feel like I want to go to one soon.
Yeah, I'm so lucky with being just a fan of these bands anyway, and then because of the media outlet, a lot of times I get to photograph and sometimes interview, meet, whatever. I definitely write reviews of the shows, and Yeah, now that I think about it, I think the first time I saw Dark Funeral was with Cannibal back in like, what was that, like the late 90s?
Oh,
It was,
wow, yeah.
it was a long time ago, but
Mhm.
and they're still chugging along,
Oh, yeah.
still doing their thing. I
Hell
love a
yeah.
lot. I love a lot of the gothic and symphonic metal stuff. So like Nightwish
yes.
and Within Temptation.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
um,
Nightwish. Yeah, I was super into Nightwish when I was in high school, but I still love them. But I just went through like a heavy like Nightwish phase, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
You know, I think I kind of went through a phase too because I'm not nearly the fan of them that I was.
Yeah.
But I saw them when Taria was still the singer in the band.
Yeah.
Right before she left, so I got to see that lineup in a little freaking club here in Seattle.
Oh, wow.
Before they started to blow up and got a net, and they got Floor Now and all that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I love metal stuff. Seems like I just at a metal show, Cradle of Filth. I saw them recently.
Oh. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That the memory you picked was going back to experience a concert that was so great with System of a Down.
Yeah.
I'd have a hard time picking which one to go back to.
Oh, for sure.
Oh gosh, that would be so hard now to think about it. Like, what concert would I go back to experience all over again?
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll come. There's been so many amazing shows. I'm just really
Absolutely, yeah.
such a music nut. That's cool. And before I forget, you're telling me also, and we kind of talked about it during this interview, that that you love horror.
I do.
So, what are some of the horror films or characters that you like?
Well, I love Hellraiser. I think it's a classic. You know, the old Halloween movies. Recently, I saw X and Pearl, and I think they are my favorite modern horror movies ever so far. That they were just, I don't know, they're just so good. Like the cinematography, because X takes place in 1979. And so a lot of like the cinematography and the filming and stuff like that reminded me a lot of like the camera style and like the old Halloween movies and stuff like that. And kind of had that same sort of feel. And Pearl took place in like 1918, I think. And then those camera angles and like the cinematography as well kind of reflected an older movie of that time too. And so it was just, I really like both those movies, and they're really, really good. So I would, if you have an opportunity, I do suggest that you go see them.
Okay, I've heard of Pearl, and have nothing but good things about that film.
So watch X first, because X is the prequel to that, the first one, and then watch Pearl. And then I don't think you'll fully appreciate Pearl without having watched X.
Okay. Thanks for the tip. Then I'll definitely watch them in order then.
Yeah, and they're both phenomenal in my opinion. So.
Okay, and we're talking that you're excited for the new reboot of Hellraiser.
Yes.
Next week, and so am I. I just have to find a way to watch it since I don't have Hulu.
Yeah. Well, that's the struggle now. Yeah.
It is. There's so many exclusive things on so many different streaming platforms that it's kind of like depending on, it becomes a whole thing of like your friends and or your family, like who's got a login for
exactly. Yeah.
And at some point these companies are going to start, getting wise to that. I mean, Netflix tried to, but I don't know if they're really having success with that, of like trying to stop.
I don't think they're going to because that's such a dick move. Like, it's just such a dick move that everyone's going to be like, you suck. Like no one's going to be happy about it. Yeah,
and they're going to just move right to somebody else. That where I can still, do that kind of thing. But have you had a chance to meet like Doug Bradley for some reason? Has he come across your travels? Who played Pinhead in the original most of the Hellraiser films?
No.
He's quite the gentleman. I was fortunate enough to get a chance to interview him back.
Wow! Yeah.
10 years ago, and you probably know this, that when he was offered the part, he was looking at either one of the furniture mover guys, or this thing that wasn't even called a Cenobite, it's some of the description of what the character was. So those are the two offers that Clive gave him since they were friends.
Yeah.
And he came from the theater world, and he was initially thinking about, this sounds like some stupid little horror
Yeah,
film.
yeah, like whatever.
Yeah, that my friend's doing something. Maybe I'll just be the furniture moving guy. And they said, well, what is this other thing? And they said, oh, it's going to take a lot of makeup and all this other kind of stuff to do. I said, well,
Yeah.
I've never really done anything like that, so let's do it.
Mhm.
And so had he not chosen that, he could have been just back on stage all these years doing whatever, and we wouldn't even know who he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody else would have been, that iconic character for those
Super
early
iconic.
films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's one of the questions I brought up to him. I said, what do you think would have happened? And he's like, he had to sit there and think about it. It's like, I've never been asked that. So I don't really know. I guess I would have continued doing theater or something, because obviously my career went on a whole other trajectory as soon as that first film was made.
That's very true. Yeah, and he played Pinhead like over and over again.
Yep, he did. And it's just like, I still remember when I saw that in the theater back in 1987. I think it was 87.
Wow. Yeah.
So are you excited for the third Halloween film?
Yes, I mean, always excited for new horror movies. I'm always optimistic.
Yeah, I haven't seen the second one, Halloween Kills. I didn't see that one yet, so I don't know if that was good, bad, where it was in the canon.
Yeah, I try to enjoy things as much as I can. I don't like being a person who is like overly skeptical or critical of something, because I just want to enjoy things.
Mm-hmm.
And even if I'm like, okay, that wasn't that great, I can still be like, but I had a fun time.
That's a good outlook.
Yeah.
And a good way to approach things. I think actually I wish more people approach things like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to enjoy myself. I want to enjoy things. I mean, sometimes it's fun to hate on something, but like not all the time.
Yeah, because I mean, especially with social media and everything else out there, it's like everyone thinks they can say whatever they want. It's like, why don't you say something positive for a change, or something funny, whatever, instead of like thinking you're the god to everything out in social media and everything you say is right and everyone else is wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
And even someone like me, who is like just this person in Seattle doing what I do, I start getting messages from people like, you really took all this time to write, this long thing. It's like, don't you have anything better to do outside or with your friends or on whatever it is, just something more productive?
Yeah, no, I went through a phase where I would argue a lot online, but then I realized because I wasn't in a good place. I was doing that because I had something going on in here, and then I was externalizing it. And I think maybe that is the same for other people.
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head, that they've got their own personal things that they need to work through. And instead of working through them, they're taking it out everywhere else they can.
Random people online. Yeah.
Or they stumble across YouTube and they see my bald head and they're like, that guy, I got issue with.
Yeah, fuck that guy in particular.
Yeah. It's like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
Let me go back and find one more question from my list here. Okay. What would be one of the coolest animals to upsize to the size of a horse?
Coolest. Okay. Ooh, okay. So it's really small. What would be cool the size of a horse? And not terrifying. I'm not sure, because most things I think would be terrifying. Maybe. I don't know, because I think once you get to the size of a horse, most things that are supposed to be smaller become terrifying. Unless it's like, I don't know, maybe like a wallaby or like a capybara. Something that's like generally harmless. Yeah, like a capybara, right. I think would be the best bet. A capybara the size of a horse would just be a gentle giant.
Yeah, no, I love that answer, because I haven't had a guest who thought about that aspect about when you make something that big, it can be pretty freaking terrifying. And it's not even trying to be, but just because of the size of it.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Because someone was talking about like they wanted to make their pet beagle that size. It's like, you want something running around after animals and whatever else taunting through your house that size.
Yeah, something that could just like seriously hurt you without even like thinking about it, kind of thing.
Yeah, they just hit you with their tail. They don't.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're just, where's my biscuit at? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to knock you over.
Yeah.
Yeah, capybara would really good.
Yeah.
The guinea pig family, and yeah, they're docile and just doing their thing.
They just chill out.
Yeah.
So I think if it was bigger, it would just chill out being bigger.
Yeah. You know what? I like, again, that you came up with that answer, because it kind of goes back to the temperament of the animal.
Yeah.
So if you have something that's mellow, small, most likely it'll be mellow, big.
Yeah.
But if it's hyper small,
yeah, then no, it's too much. Too much.
yeah, you don't want the horse-sized version of that.
No, exactly.
Okay. Well, Jessica, it was such a pleasure getting a chance to talk with you and learn more about what you do, and also just you as a person.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed our conversation. I just realized it's been over an hour that we've been talking. Like I mentioned before, I tend to ramble and go places.
That's all right. Yeah.
But I like these interviews much more than trying to cram something into 20 minutes or whatever it is. And
for sure.
I get a chance to get more of a well-rounded aspect of what somebody does. And people obviously can see in the background your official website, and you kind of mentioned some things earlier of where to find you, but can you kind of go some of those things again of where people can find you so they can check you out?
For sure. So you can find me on Twitter at Jessica Starling, except that first E is a 3, so it is J3 Jessica Starling. Instagram is Jessica Starling XO. My official website is thejessicastarling.com. And you can find me on OnlyFans at onlyfans.com/Jessica Starling or onlyfans.com/Jessica Starling free.
Awesome. And don't forget her Twitch channel and just everything else that you mentioned earlier in the stream too.
I'm like, if you search for me on somewhere, I will most likely be there. So
yeah. Well, and thank you for those that are in the chat, and thank you for following me. I see someone followed me, and thanks for saying that was a great interview. I appreciate that as well. And Jessica, I always mean this. I love having guests come back. I don't like doing one and dones. I like having 2, 3s, 4s, 5s kind of a thing.
For sure.
And I've only had one person from the adult industry come back, and that wasn't because of me. It was just the way it worked out.
Yeah, for sure.
And don't be surprised if your publicist hits you up in a month or two to say, hey, Mark wants to have you come back on and talk about what you're doing now, and hopefully be open to that.
Well, I would love that.
Awesome. Well, have a great night back in Toronto. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you have coming up. And maybe in another month or two, we'll get a chance to reconnect when it'll be, I don't know, colder out here and colder back there.
Definitely colder here as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And wet and all that kind of thing. And we're already moving into spooky time really soon. So that'll be exciting.
Of course.
All right. Thank you so much and take care.
Thank you. You as well.